Thank you guys for joining us for our first ever BGS Lunch and Learn event. We're very lucky today to be joined by our partner AICPA and CIMA for their talk on learning how to become a future of finance frontrunner. Joining us today are Barry Payne and Nora Luquer. So I'd like you guys to please join me in welcoming them.
Well, thank you very much. I'm sure that if you put yourself off mute, you'd be applauding, like the olden days. Well, welcome. Good evening to my friend in Lausanne. Good morning, good afternoon to the rest of you. We have some cool information that we want to discuss with you today, and please be active on this chat bar. Okay, so ask any questions that you want to throughout the deck. Nora and I will answer those as we go along. I lead, on behalf of the AICPA and CIMA, I lead relationships with the big companies, the Fortune companies, and I work with CFOs really to determine how best they can upskill their teams. And one of the ways that they can upskill their teams that's really strongly in demand right now is what we're going to be talking to you guys about today. I am joined by my good friend and colleague, Nora, and I can't do justice to introducing herself, so I'm going to let her introduce herself to you.
Thank you, Barry. Hi, everybody. My name is Nora Luquer, and I work with universities, academics, and students all over the United States and the Americas, promoting our CGMA Finance Leadership Program. And we've been working with Beta Gamma Sigma now for almost 2 years, and we are so happy to be partners with BGS, and we've met some great alumni and students. So thanks for being here. We hope to share some pearls of wisdom with you.
We do indeed, and we hope that there will be pearls of wisdom when I share something with you in a second. Keep that chat bar going, guys. We'd love to understand where you're from, and are you working at the moment, or are you studying? Just give us a little bit of, by way of background about what you do and what led you to our lunch and learn today. That would be awesome. So go ahead. But with your permission, I'm going to go share my screen. I'm going to share with you something a little better than just us. And we're going to be talking about fast tracking your career in finance and accounting today. And we're going to be talking about an incredibly powerful world-class program called the CGMA Finance Leadership Program. And thank you to Carol and thank you to Kimberly. So Audit Associate, Kimberly, VP of Finance and Operations. That's awesome. Yeah, guys, keep on kind of typing where you're from, what you do. It allows Nora and I to flex how we're going to speak to you today. So can everyone just put something in the chat bar and just let me know that you're there. So this is who we represent. I'm sure that a number of you may have heard of us. Definitely Carol and Kimberly, I hope have heard of us. We represent over 700,000 CPAs and chartered global management accountants around the world. So we have members like Carol, like yourself in audit, but we also have thousands of members like Roberto and Cindy and others that work in commercial finance, FP&A as we like to call it. And that's what we're going to be talking more about today, commercial accounting, commercial finance. So we represent over 700,000 members, and we have over 135,000 individuals around the world that hold the designation and the program that we're talking about today. And what I'd love you to do is we have set up a community, and you see this QR code there. If you hover your mobile or cell phone over the QR code, it will take you to LinkedIn, and it will set up an invitation for you to be part of our Future of Finance community. And I would really, really encourage you all to join us, because we have lots and lots of advice, insight, connections for you job seekers out there around future finance and forward finance roles. our whole industry is changing at lightning pace. And I really thank you for investing your time in this lunch and learn today. So I'll show the QR code at the end as well. So if you haven't quite hovered your phone, then I'll show it to you a little bit later on. So I think, besides Nora and Matt, I think I've got probably one of the best jobs in the world, because I don't work for a specific company. Actually, it reminds me of my audit days. And I get to speak to finance leaders and very inspiring folks from a huge number of companies. And I'm sure many of these companies are very well known to you guys on this slide. But about 18 months ago, we set out to have individual conversations with these leaders. And you take yourself back to 18 months ago, and the world was in a pretty precarious place. But it was amazing. We just basically said, listen, we want to talk to you. We want to understand what your pressure points are. We want to understand what keeps you up at night. We want to understand where you want to take your finance and accounting people, how you're going to drive better value in your business. And none of them really said no to the conversation. But the problem was, we were talking to all of these people individually. So we came up with this bright idea of convening them all together as part of a group. And we called that group the Future of Finance Group. And it is impressive and it is amazing. And we're holding a summit next month in Austin, Texas, of CFOs of about 100 of these companies. And what they're doing is they're basically just talking about what's important to them. But the number one issue? The number one issue still remains finding and retaining talent. So put it this way. If you, and I would imagine with some of the things that you've said in the chat, you're looking at today to learn more about bettering yourself, but some of you, I would suspect, manage people too and hire people. If there's a way to be able to develop an edge and a portfolio of skills that makes you one rung up from the others, then that's something certainly I would like to hear as a hiring employer myself. Because you see that with obviously the impact of the economy, we can't ignore that, guys. The need for new competencies, accelerated digital transformation, they all revolve around how we can be creative and how we can upskill ourselves, and what that upskilling actually looks like in the field of accounting and finance. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, and how to ensure that you have the most marketable skills that you possibly can. And it's not like one of these issues are affecting CFOs that I know. They're all affecting them at the same time. So we're going to tell you about a program that we're very proud of called the CGMA Finance Leadership Program. And before I hand over to Nora, just to provide some background and to give you an idea of what that is, I want to share with you this very powerful diagram. So if you imagine, we got all of these finance leaders together, not just in the US, but we know some folks there in Switzerland. I always say that the most scenic ever company location I've ever been to, and you can respond on the chat bar if you agree, is Nestle in Vevey. Oh my God. I've had the pleasure of going around the world, seeing the biggest and the best companies, and there is no finer location of a corporate headquarters than on Lake Geneva overlooking the Alps. But anyway, I digress. I'm going to look at the chat bar in a moment, Nora, see if I had a response to that one. But still, the T-shaped finance professionals come out of all of this research that we've done around the composite set of skills that an accounting and finance person needs. And think of it this way. The vertical part of the T are, for want of a better phrase, your table stakes skills. So they're absolutely vital and critical that you remain up to date. So I think technical functional knowledge goes without saying. So that's your technical accounting and finance skills, whether it's on the audit side, whether it's on the financial statement side, whether it's on the FP&A or risk treasury, whatever your speciality is, you need to keep up to date. But also that, and this is really important, that base level of data and tech savviness. Now, I would imagine all interact with technology in some shape or form. And some of you may interact in different ways than others, but we think that everyone should be curious and lean into some of the emerging technologies. You know, I'm thinking of things like robot process automation, artificial intelligence, blockchain, and others. Even just to understand the basics around, you know, data analytics and all of those type of things. So those are the deep skills. Those are the skills that we absolutely need to have nailed if we're going to be successful as an accounting and finance professional. But I'll tell you the ones that are game changing. The ones that are game changing are these wide skills. We call them success skills. Because if you think of the way that our industry is going, technology is allowing us to automate a lot of the basic stuff that in my day I had to do manually. So if you imagine all of the transactional work, all of the invoicing, you know, all of the things like that, we can pretty much automate. And some of the analytics tools that we can deploy, you know, almost allow the people within your businesses to be able to self-serve financial information themselves. So you think, okay, well, that's eroding the core space that we have as an accounting and finance professional. So how do we, it's almost like, how do we reinvent ourselves to be of value to the business? Well, the good news is it gives you more time to think about being closer to the business and making an impact, asking the right questions, having the right conversations. And that's what these wide boundary crossing skills are there to do. So storytelling, and what I mean by that is how you are able to help your businesses navigate vast amount of complex data into something that they can easily make a decision with quickly. That is a key skill. Critical thinking is a key skill, asking the right questions. The one on the right-hand side, integration and collaboration, again, a key skill, because the great thing I love about finance is the fact that we see the whole business. And by seeing the whole business, we can help the business make objective and ethical decisions. But, you know, there could be sales people out there or marketing people out there or ops people out there that are in their will with their own goals. But we need to be able to take a step back and integrate and collaborate those points of view to make sure that the financial performance of our company is on the right track. Now, these are sometimes very hard skills to actually develop. But the good news is that we've created a program which merges the wide and the deep skills. There's only one other thing, Nora, I'd love to say before I hand over to you.
Please.
And that's that bottom, that bottom phrase. You, by doing this program, the CGMA Finance Leadership Program, you are part of a professional organization and professional body. And therefore, you stand up to the highest level of ethics, integrity, and professionalism. And by being a member of our organization, when you succeed, you will be on a program of continuing development too. And I think that that's a very important thing. Well, it's always been important, quite frankly, that sets doing this program apart from maybe just the likes of an academic degree or something like that. So Nora, I'm going to hand over to you. I'm going to have a little look at the chat bar whilst you're talking away, just see what's going on there. But we want to tell you a little bit about the CGMA Finance Leadership Program.
Thank you so much. Well, first, I want to just...
Sorry, Nora, to hide you. Sorry, I've just looked at the chat bar. We've got some hands going up. Are you all right at this stage if we just take a couple of questions before we move on?
Oh, of course, of course.
Okay, so, and forgive for the pronunciation of names, but Sonika, or is it Sonika? Would you like to ask your question?
Yeah, sure. It's Sonika.
What is your question?
So my question is like, technically, I do not have any degree in finance or accounting. I'm a major in computer science and business analytics. But
Wow.
but my work experience, I work as a equity research analyst. So more or so, like for the last 7 years, I'm engaged with the uh, like the bank, like the finance sheet and all like that, ratio analysis and all those things.
Yeah.
And I want to enter into like the finance and accounting. So I just want to like know approximate like how this could be a best fit for me, or like should I move into it like there's number of confusion in my mind, right? I'm not sure like how to make
Oh,
my entry into this domain, because I want to be a person of like finance and IT or accounting information system in short,
yeah. Yeah.
right? Uh-huh.
Yeah. No, I think, oh gosh, we want to embrace you with open arms. Sonika, if I was there, I'd give you a hug, because I think your background is very lucrative. And
Mhm.
I think if you're able to balance that background with this program, it would give you an amazing set of skills. No, you are fully eligible. You can do this. And we'll talk more about where computer science majors come in, but anyone with that intersection of IT and finance is going to be incredibly attractive to companies. I can tell you that. But I'll get Nora to kind of share with you how it all works in a moment. Amy, would you like to ask your question?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Amy, are
Hey,
you there?
sorry. I was actually raising hand for the question about if any of us would like to enhance skills in accounting and finance.
Oh, okay. Well, hopefully that's yes, you would. And Amy and Carol, were you doing the same thing, or did you have a specific question for us? Sorry,
think
Carol
it's
and Roberto. Sorry.
I think it's the same.
Oh,
They're
okay.
so no, thank you, and we appreciate this.
Got it.
One
Over
of
to
the
you.
Thank you, Barry. One of the reasons why we wanted to partner with Beta Gamma Sigma is the fact that Beta Gamma Sigma is a global organization such as AICPA and CIMA, and it encompasses students and alumni who are interested in business. And accounting and finance is business. And we see so much alignment between the business world and the CGMA Finance Leadership Program. And even if you do not have a degree in accounting and finance, as Barry said, you can absolutely do this program. And I'm going to take a few minutes to talk about sort of the mechanics and how it works. We are at your availability to discuss, after, offsite any, details of the program. So today is sort of a summary of the CGMA Finance Leadership Program. So I don't know how many of you have heard of the CGMA designation. It's a global designation. And as Barry said, over 135,000 CGMAs around the world. The designation, which is a professional qualification, is not new. What is new is 6 years ago, AICPA and CIMA came together, two premier organizations, the American Institute of CPA and the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, to form AICPA and CIMA. So not only do we support licensure for the CPA, which has been around in the United States for over 100 years, we now award the CGMA. The Finance Leadership Program is a digital, self-paced knowledge journey housed within our own proprietary LMS, and it prepares students and professionals to become finance business value partners. So yes, while there is technical accounting and finance knowledge within this program, there is also competencies on risk and performance and project management and strategy. So being able to apply that accounting and finance technical knowledge within your profession, within your company, within the organization, within the industry at large. And it's based on competencies, real world competencies and real world scenarios. So it's less theory and more practical application. We can go ahead to the next slide, Barry. So one of the questions, I think it was Samika, that you had. So you have, I believe, a degree in computer science or engineering, I don't remember which. So because you haven't studied accounting and finance per se, you would enter the program at the operational level. If you have an accounting or finance bachelor's degree or master's degree in accounting or finance, you would come in at the management level. For those of you who are CPAs, if any of you are CPAs, you'd come in at the strategic level. So depending on your actual education, what you've studied will depend on at which level you come in. We can go ahead to the next slide, please, Barry. So if we take a look at the Finance Leadership Program, it's about 420 hours of learning. And within that, you see 9 modules, 9 sort of tic-tac-toe boxes. Each module has competencies within it. So in total, there are 33 competencies. And they range from digital finance to risk management to financial reporting. You've got the enterprise pillar on the left-hand column, which is that strategy, that macro view. Think of your MBA and think of, strategy planning. And then on the right-hand pillar, you've got the financial reporting, compliance, and understanding the numbers, where they come from, and being in compliance with IFRS. And then in the middle, you've got your FP&A, your financial planning and analysis, your performance pillar, and talking about risk. So it's a very holistic end-to-end program that incorporates, of course, the accounting and finance technical skills with the strategy and digital technology, people skills, and leadership skills. How long it takes somebody to complete could be anywhere from 6 months to 3 years. It's self-paced. There are pre-assessments within the program, which means that if you go ahead and take a pre-assessment and pass that, you can accelerate and be waived out of that particular topic of learning. So we have professionals and students who go through the program in 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years, depending on where they enter, how much time they spend each week, and how many pre-assessments they're able to be exempt from. And we also offer micro credentials along this journey, this self-paced journey of simulated real-world scenarios. So as you complete each module of learning, you can earn a skills certificate in that area. So for example, digital finance or management accounting. So there are 9. We also offer diplomas through AICPA and CIMA as you complete a level of learning. Once you complete a level of learning, the review course is part of our subscription. It's part of our program, and that prepares you to take the case study exam, 1 case study exam per level. So the most case study exams you would take would be 3. If you enter at management, you only take 2. If you enter at strategic, you only take 1. So there are credentials along the way. The final credential is the global designation, which is a professional qualification. And AICPA and CIMA is the premier organization for management accounting, corporate finance. So we are so delighted to introduce you to the CGMA Finance Leadership Program. Let's go ahead to the next slide, please.
You got it.
So this is our dashboard. So again, you can do this program anywhere. I'm enrolled in the program myself. I studied not accounting and finance. And so I'm entering at the operational level. I'm going through the program. You have a dashboard, which is sort of like base camp, your home base. You can schedule your exam. You can put in how many hours you think you'll do each week, how many topics you'd like to learn each week. The topics are small bite-sized knowledge checks, so usually about half an hour to an hour. So it's easy to sort of carve out some time to do this program when it's convenient for you. And the case studies can be done at a Pearson View Center or proctored online. Barry? Let's go to the next slide. I think I'm going to be handing it over to you in a minute or two, but I'll just finish up here with, this is part of the dashboard and really where the learning takes place. you click on competencies up at the top, and then you see how many competencies you've already completed and how much more you need to do. So you're always able to kind of get that sort of, you know, glance of assessment and where you are and what you need to do. And it's really actually very interactive, a lot of videos, a lot of, you know, putting yourself as a day in the life of a financial professional, finance and accounting professional. And it really prepares learners to be really chief consultants, value partners, and really understand the holistic nature of the program. So I am going to turn it over back to Barry. Barry, you might have a few other comments to say about the mechanics and the program, and please feel free to do so.
I do, and if it looked like I was distracted, I was, but I was answering questions on the chat, and I was also admitting you guys into our LinkedIn community. So we had a number of invitations. So you're in there now, guys, and thanks very much for clicking on the QR code. And I'll show you the QR code in a minute. Now I'm going to pronounce your name wrong, and I'm ever so sorry. Is it Bridget?
Yes, it's Bridget.
Oh, I got it right. Oh, thank you. So you come up with this brilliant question. When you saw the email that BGS sent out, do I have to write an exam to get into this program, and do I have to make a payment? If yes, how much? How many payments and how much? You're currently a student, and then you said you talked about different levels. As an accounting student, I'll be in the management level. However, I'm starting my CPA already and plan to finish in 2023. Would it be best to finish the CPA and come in at strategic? I'm not sure whether I could combine an MSc with CPA and another. So I think my simple answer to that question strategically is, if you are absolutely set on starting your CPA exam, my advice would be to wholly and solely focus on your CPA exam. And then what that would do for you strategically, as Nora said, is that would expedite your entry point into this program at the very highest level. And just to remind you guys of this, that's called the strategic level. So that's probably what I would recommend. I guess, Nora, you come across this a lot in your field, don't you?
Yes, and I agree with that assessment, Barry. I think, you know, sort of preparing for two qualifications, professional qualifications simultaneously is not an easy feat, especially when you're probably doing some other things in your life as well. And once you have passed the 4 parts of the CPA exam, you can start the CGMA Finance Leadership Program at the strategic level. And I think that you know, that absolutely catapults you to that highest level. There's about 125 hours of learning at the strategic level, and 50% of the topics have pre-assessments. So whether it takes you 125 hours or 60 hours will depend on your knowledge and being able to pass those pre-assessments. But I do agree, for any of you studying for a professional qualification at the moment, probably better not to do more than one at the time.
Yeah, exactly. So where were we? Yes. So Bridget, you talk about exams. Let's talk about exams for a minute. So you see, this is the full curriculum. Then wherever you enter, there will be this case study exam that you would need to pass on completing a level. And if you budget for each level taking about 6 months of self-paced learning, roughly, so then you prepare for this case study exam. And this is a very, very interesting exam concept, because I'll show you the front of basically a dossier or a series of pre-seen information that you get prior to actually walking into the exam. So the case study exam is available 4 times a year. It's an electronic exam. So you do it by computer, and you can either do it at a secure location, and there are thousands of these around the world, or you could do it from home by some of our secure remote proctoring. But anyway, about 6 weeks before each exam, you have access to some pre-seen material. And this is about the company that you will be focused on during the exam. So if you imagine we make up a fictional company, it could be in any industry. So this one, which was back in 2020, was a mobility company called Runabout. And one of the items that they manufactured was one of these hoverboard things, but you know, it was scooters, it was segways, it was basically electric vehicle stuff. And what you do is you get this pre-seen information, and you, along with doing a case study preparation course online, you can learn about the company, and you can start to create scenarios as to some of the issues and challenges that that company's facing. And then by going through the exam review course, then you could start to kind of think where you'd like to focus on. But the really great thing about this is that you see that on page, where is it, page 13, if you have a look at the bottom, there's always an organizational chart. And that organizational chart includes you, or at least it includes the character that you're playing. And depending on the level that you enter the program, you'll either be more of a junior business partner or a senior business partner. So you're at the level that's equivalent to the learning that you're doing. So you then walk into the exam, and you're given a series of tasks by management to complete. Now, of course, those tasks relate to the scenario that you see, but they're also meant to allow you to utilize the learning that you've completed in that particular level of learning. But it's very much in a way that helps integrate and synthesize some of the concepts together, as you would do, by the way, in the workplace. Now, the finance leaders that I meet love this concept because it really helps create and build that horizontal part of that T-shape of skills that we showed you a bit earlier on. So the case study is that multi-layered business challenge. It's an opportunity for you to demonstrate how you can draw concepts together and analyze and synthesize, you know, somewhat complex business information, and integrate that knowledge and develop and communicate solutions. And if I had anyone come to me with that final sentence and say, well, I've got this enhanced ability to research, communicate, collaborate, and offer insight, then I would be very curious as to how they've done it and how they would apply that in the workplace. So it's interesting, isn't it, Nora? Because I just saw in the chat bar, you know, this isn't a multiple choice exam as such. This replicates the world of work. And I think that's a very, very exciting concept.
It really does sort of demand your critical thinking skills and problem solving and decision making, and really having to sort of show the process of how a corporate finance professional or management accountant goes through deciding on whether they should invest, whether they should scale back, all of those things. So it really does prepare you and enhance your current skills that you have in this arena.
Wonderful. So we're coming to the end here. I'm hoping that the majority of you are finding time to at least have something to eat, given it's lunchtime over here on the East Coast. Dan, I'm curious about your comment of CFO path. Do you want to put yourself off mute, sir, and explain a bit more about what you mean? And why is it 11 p.m. where you are? Where are you? Have you managed to find that microphone bar to get yourself off mute? You're in Mumbai. Wow. Can you put yourself off mute? We'd love to understand what you're doing over there, and for example, what you mean by CFO path. I've been to Mumbai many times. Well, Dan, whilst you're working out how to do that, Kimberly has said, are the certifications good as fill-ins for skill gaps? Yes, I think that they are. I mean, there's a couple of things here. You can either use this program to elevate yourself to become a chartered global management accountant. I think to get the best out of the program, you really need to be fully committed to all of it, because it's amazing how all the skills kind of blend together. And I think the people that really get the most from it, once they blend these skills together and learn all of them within the case study, they're getting the best result. But something that I can actually speak to you after the event about is that we do lots and lots of other things as well here at AICPA and CIMA. And we've also effectively unpacked some of the content that we showed you into smaller bite-sized morsels of learning. The idea is that that's more focused at someone that wants to laser focus on skill gaps rather than the whole thing. So if that's something that you're also interested in exploring, we can do that as well, Kimberly. That sounds great. I'll make sure I'll get your details from that. Dan, how's that mute button working for you?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, just about, sir. Give it a go.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. Can you hear me better?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I'm in Mumbai, 11 p.m. here, so that's fine. What I meant with the CFO is, does it give you the whole range of skills, which it does seem to, for someone who wants to go into that upward trajectory or, towards a CFO role where you need a range of skills, which seems to be covered in the CGMA, with the case studies, the FP&A and strategic thinking or management accounting, especially. So, how could this program, if at all, it might prepare one, for the skills which you need also to move in that direction towards a CFO in, let's say, it could be a manufacturing company or any company actually, but so that's because it seems to be a good blend of FP&A and of course all the other things you said, but management accounting, obviously with the CIMA. So would this be somewhat of a better alternative than doing a CIMA alone? I guess so. And that would be the second question.
Oh, no. You've got a little bit for me to unpick there, and I will do. Dan, what are you doing at the moment in Mumbai? What takes you there?
I'm actually doing strategic marketing for a chemical company.
Okay.
So I'm actually in that space, but I want to add to my skills and get the whole range of finance as well as it could be a lateral move or could be you can call it new. So that's what I'm trying to do and get the whole range of skills. Supply chain is also now being increasingly integrated with finance, and strategic marketing is obviously slightly different, but it's all coming together. So if I can add this, because I don't have the finance part in my in my skills. So I have some basic knowledge. I've got the very basics, but that's what I mentioned about the CFO and CIMA. Yeah, so I'll let you reply.
No, thanks very much for that, Dan. So a couple of things I'll say to all of you. Before I do that, I'd like to tell you a quick story. So I kind of like chocolate. It's a bit of a vice. I like good chocolate, but so one of my biggest clients is Mars Wrigley, and it's not as an attractive HQ as the Nestle one, but it's pretty cool. And I know the CFO there very well. And about a year ago, he started to talk to me and he said, Barry, I'm really suffering from the bench strength that I've got. I can't see an immediate successor to my role. in the next year. And that concerns me, he said. So I asked him, well, why? And he said, well, I've got people that are really skilled in accounting, but I've got people that are really skilled in FP&A. I've even got some strategy and marketing folks that have, you know, re-sprayed themselves into being great finance leaders. But I don't have anyone that really understands the end-to-end financials of our business, you know, the end-to-end P&L, the balance sheet. And to be a CFO, you need to have that purview. And I said, well, listen, you know, I've been having similar conversations with lots of companies about this, and that's partly why. That's partly why the CGMA will help, because to your point, it covers the end-to-end of the P&L and the balance sheet. And I think and Mars Wrigley are using it, by the way, and it really helps equip people in order to, and you don't, I mean, it's not, I'm not saying it's going to guarantee you a CFO role. What I'm saying is it allows, the thing about this is the way that I see this first is this is a business leadership program first.
Okay.
Grounded with finance. And you know, it's almost like I flip this the other way. I could say you could do this and you have just got a good chance or an even better chance of stepping out of a finance role because of the competencies that you've got. And God, I mean, a lot of our members start in finance. Now they're senior management elsewhere. But Dan, I want to get back to what you said about CIMA, because Nora and I have we've communicated a bit of alphabet soup to you guys today. And Nora mentioned CIMA, which is the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants.
Right.
And then we talked about CGMA, which is the Chartered Global Management Accountant. They're exactly the same thing. So this is more for the audience out there outside of the US, like, you know, you, for example, who have heard of CIMA. The qualification of CIMA is exactly the same as what you saw on screen. So there is no difference whatsoever. This program just allows you to consume that knowledge in a more flexible digital way. So if you've got friends out there that have the CIMA qualification, they can call themselves Chartered Global Management Accountants. So it's exactly the same thing. And I just wanted to, maybe a lot of you don't know that or don't even need to know that, but for the likes of yourself in India, where you've heard of CIMA, I just want to make sure that you knew it as the same thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So
yes, and I
apologize,
apologize, Dan. I should have been clearer that the CGMA is a designation that is from the CIMA syllabus. And it is the same learning. There's no difference, except we've digitized it, but the learning is the same.
Oh, Roberto, Roberto, you've got a good one. So Roberto, are you based in Switzerland? Are you the guy from Lausanne?
Yep, that's right.
Yep. So so this, hang on a minute. Okay, sorry, just looking at the chat bar, guys. I can only do one thing at once and then hopefully do it quite well. So you've got 6 years of experience in FP&A. Who do you work for, by the way, Roberto?
I don't know if you heard about the Kudaski Group, Nagrovision. We do video security for big operators.
Oh, awesome. Now, you work for an exciting company in an equally scenic location. Looking for career progression and sharpening the P&L, IFRS, would you recommend starting with a CPA before hopping on the CGMA bandwagon? A bandwagon it is. Kimberly, we'll be in touch with you, and thanks very much for spending some time with us, by the way. So I just wanted to acknowledge that. Not necessarily. No, I think it really depends on what's right for you. I think if you're in a commercial role, if you're in an area where you want to develop your career in FP&A and those overall accounting kind of, you know, backdrops, I would actually thoroughly recommend the CGMA. Absolutely, absolutely so. The award of the CGMA, the Chartered Global Management Accountant, is at the same prestigious level as a certified public accountant. Where my advice would be ever so slightly different, and maybe this is the route that you were going, Bridget, or indeed I think there was another person on the line today that's currently in audit. I think currently, if you perhaps are working for an auditing or an accounting firm, then probably certified public accountant is the way to go. But I think if you're already in a commercial environment and you want to sharpen your skills in the accounting and the finance space with a heavy dose of strategy and business partnering, then certainly, just to add humor to your answer, I would certainly recommend the CGMA bandwagon. And the thing about the CGMA, Roberto, is it's globally consistent. So, I mean, I work with companies around the world that have folks doing the CGMA. Like IBM, for example, is one of the biggest consumers of the CGMA Finance Leadership Program. And we currently got people from 27 different countries doing it. So I would recommend that. Carol, I really appreciate your question. The answer is yes. We're going to talk about that now. And I'm going to bring my slide up. So Matt and McKenna are going to be providing you with some more information about the pricing of the program. And they're going to provide you with a promotional code to get a 15% reduction of the price. But I just want to give you a flavor of the pricing. I want to preface it by saying that this is a very prestigious program and it is a commitment. And the way that the pricing works is it's based on a subscription. So you can either take out a 1, 2, or 3 year subscription. And people normally take out a 1-year subscription, see how far they get in the program and then renew. The 1-year subscription is $2,500. So you will get a 15% reduction as a BGS member. Now, I don't know about you, but as an individual, that feels like individually a lot of money. I mean, I don't have 2,500 I can spend immediately. But here's the thing. Your organization, for those that work, the working professionals out there, I would be quite gladly make myself available in any shape or form to talk to your manager about funding this. So my primary audience of who I promote this to are line managers and finance directors. IBM, for example, they invest 100% of the cost in their people to do this. Their employees don't pay anything. And I honestly think that 2,500 for the ROI that you're going to get out of it is a very, very small drop in the ocean. So I would encourage you to reach out to me to see how we can bring that conversation to your line manager, especially if you're thinking about your development plans for 2023. With that in mind, Carol, we don't actually have any payment plans available at the moment, but I would be very keen to maybe talk to you afterwards about how we can, how we can develop a conversation with your employer, if you happen to be working, of course, in order for them to fund that. And we would be very happy to honor that promotional code. So that just gives you a flavor of the pricing. And as Nora says, it's an all-inclusive price. So there's nothing else that you or your organization need to pay as a result of that. Any more questions about the pricing or the nature of the program? And I'm very honest with my offer there, guys. I'm very happy to prep you to have those conversations with your managers and seek funding for this if you need to. And sure, I would need to. So you can put yourself off mute, guys, if you fancy, if you'd rather do this the old-fashioned way. Whilst you're thinking about that, I've got the QR code back, and I've seen a number of you have asked to be part of the community. Let me have a look at the pending invites and make sure that I allow you all in. This is very exciting that you'd like to be part of this network.
I'm going to respond to Tanisha. Would I recommend doing the CPA before the CGMA? So I would probably have a few questions to ask and also to consider before I answered yes or no. You know, where are you currently? Are you working? Are you a student? Are you working in public accounting? Are you working in business and industry? What is your, you know, ultimate or, you know, goal for the next, you know, foreseeable future? When I speak with academics and university students, I talk a lot about CPA and CGMA. You know, being able to have both qualifications, both credentials, which are, you know, world premiered, will give you an edge. Which one you do first will depend. Now, as we said earlier, if you are a CPA and or you pass your 4 parts of the exam even before you're licensed, you would come into the CGMA at the strategic learning level, which is the highest level. So it is sort of a fast track accelerated pathway to earn your CGMA. We really believe at AICPA and CIMA that both are going to, you know, put you in the best possible stead. I really, not knowing anything else, Tanisha, I'm not sure I'd be able to answer that. But Barry, what do you think?
Hi.
I'll ask Tanisha what she thinks, actually.
Oh.
Go ahead, Tanisha. Are you a controller or something at the moment?
Yes, I'm a controller for a well-known nonprofit. I've started the process of the CPA exams. I'm currently studying now. And so I work full-time and study. I'm done with school. I've acquired my master's in management and accounting.
That's great. Well, I think what we could do is, if you're open to it, we can get your details from Matt. We can have a little bit of an individual conversation about, you know, what options are available for you. And it'd be lovely to get to know you. Lovely to get to know a bit about the not-for-profit that you work for as well. Would you be open to that?
Sure.
Yeah. And you're based up. So I'm just looking you up on LinkedIn. I'm LinkedIn stalking you, Tanisha.
Oh yeah, I'm based up in Massachusetts.
There you go,
Oh.
Nora. You're in the same
Tanisha,
state.
I'm in Massachusetts as well.
So guys, we're coming up to the end of the hour. I hope you're able to get something to eat. Now, if we were doing this live, I would have provided you with something to eat, but never mind. Could you, as we wrap up, just think about one word that you feel that you'd like to leave in the chat bar about how you felt today's Lunch and Learn went? Was it insightful? Was it useful? Just think about one word that each of you can put into that chat bar. And Bridget, what I'll do is I'm going to just throw up the little QR code again. What I can also do, Matt and McKenna, is I can give you like a hyperlink to this community when we send out our follow-up email. So yeah, if you just hover your phone on that QR code there, that should send you directly to the community. Let's have a look at the chat bar quickly. So yeah, if you could just be kind enough. Thank you, Sanika. So everyone just put a word in, right? That's all that we ask. So informative, thank you very much. What other words have we got? Oh, that's fair enough. Bridget, fair enough. Roberto, inspirational. Oh, we'd love to talk to you. I wish I could get over there and speak to you. Insightful, Colleen, thank you very much. What other words have we got? Any words that don't begin with I? Nora, how about you? What would your word be?
I'm just really pleased, again, to partner with BGS and all of the BGS community that we have partnered, that we've spoken to since we've started our partnership, have been so curious and interested in learning more. And thank you for being such a great audience. And as Barry said, we know for most of you, it's during, you know, lunchtime. So we really appreciate your time and attention to this. It's fantastic, and we'd love to talk more.
And shout out to Dan for two things. He came up with a word that wasn't E. Oh, Carol's actually got another E. Enlightening and exciting. And also, I'd like to give the best prize to Dan for basically being up so late there in Mumbai, India. Bridget, you win the award for two words here: insightful and rewarding. It always gives me a huge amount of pleasure to do these kind of things. And what we'll work with Matt and McKenna to do is just send you out some resources for you to look at. And there are some individuals that I've been chatting to, whereby I hope I'll get your email details and we can have one-on-one conversations with you outside the forum today. But just on behalf of Nora and myself, we love our partnership with the BGS organization. And we thank you for the opportunity to do this Lunch and Learn today. With that, I'll hand back to you, Matt.
Thank you very much, Barry, and thank you very much, Nora. We also very much appreciate our partnership with you guys. Thank you very much for hopping on with us today and hosting this Lunch and Learn and all this information that you're providing, these professionals and students that are on the call with us today. Really, really appreciate it. We do have a lot of information to share with you in our follow-up email. We have the slides that McKenna mentioned. We have that discount code for 15% off the CGMA. So we'll be sending out a follow-up email very soon. There'll also be a recording of this available on our website. So please feel free to check that out. We'll also have a link in that email as well. But yeah, once again, thank you all again for your kind words and everything. Really appreciate it. Everybody in the chat who participated and everybody who came and just listened. Really appreciate your time today. Again, Barry and Nora, you guys are fantastic. Awesome presentation. Glad to have you.
Oh, thanks a lot. And take care, everyone. Be good. All right, all the best.
Thank you so much.
Right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.